Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining. I forgot to change the date. Today is not May 4th, it is June 1st. I cannot believe it's June already, and hopefully everyone had a great long weekend, survived the heat yesterday, which was pretty oppressive, and ready for a little more temperate weather the next couple of days. We do have some birthdays this month. We have Alexi's in 3 days. We have Danielle's on the 8th. Akash is on the 11th. Gianni's on the 20th. Nicole's on the 22nd. Michelle Shaw-Klaus is on the 23rd. Rebecca Fu's on the 25th. And Stephanie's on the 28th. So happy birthday in advance to everyone who does have birthdays this month. And we do have two new agents, and they're both actually on the call. So I'd love to give them a second to introduce themselves. We have Talia, who is a new agent based out in Queens, and we have Maurice, who's in Long Island, but many of you might know Maurice. He was with Weichert some years ago. So Talia, do you want to start and just introduce yourself and kind of where you'll primarily be working?
Yeah, my name is Talia.
I'm sorry, Talia, I apologize.
No, it's fine. I mean, I have family that's like British, so they always pronounce it Talia, so I accept it. Yeah, I'm gonna be working in Queens, Long Island, and Westchester. I am new to Weichert, and I'm just pretty much in the process of getting familiar with everything and eventually looking forward to actually start working and being active.
Awesome. And what did you do before real estate, or kind of what's your full-time?
I am currently working as an office manager for a general contractor, but I'm in the process of transitioning to become a carpenter, a union carpenter. So I plan on working as a union carpenter during the day and then working real estate at nighttime and weekends.
Awesome. So we got some in-house carpenters now, which is always a good thing. And Maurice, would you like to reintroduce yourself to anyone, or introduce yourself to anyone who doesn't know you? Let me see if I can help you. Maurice, if you click on the button, I think it just asks you to mute. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can.
Okay. As I was saying, it's I used to be with Weichert before, and when COVID hit, I decided to hibernate for a while, and this is 2 years that I've been home already, and now I am back in the market. So I work in Manhattan. I know Manhattan. I live in Long Island, but my stomping ground is Manhattan.
Awesome. So again, if you need help from anyone, again, Maurice's experience, Talia's new, but they're both more than welcome to help out with anything that you guys have. So feel free to reach out to them. Again, we do need a couple more licensed agents in Queens. If you know of anyone who has their license, please let me know. Love to get a couple more people for Queens and Long Island, actually. So just let me know. I like this one. I don't even know who it's from, but sales go up and down, service stays forever. And I think this is something important to think about given the evolving market, let's say, that we're working in. We'll talk about the market in a moment, but we're noticing changes, right? And again, sales can go up and down, but service and the service that you provide stays forever. I remember a really great example of this, and this happened a couple of years ago. Those of you who are in the business probably remember when there was a ruling by the Department of State basically saying that fees couldn't be paid by the tenants anymore, or there was a concern that they wouldn't be able to be paid by the tenant. They had to be paid by the landlord, right? Which again, didn't go into effect or kind of was stayed and clarified and everything like that. But again, many people are concerned, especially rental agents. Hey, I can't collect from the fee anymore. Hey, I'm working with someone who isn't going to pay my fee. What am I going to do? And I got a great call, when that was happening. One of my long-term clients called me and said, Jason, do not worry for a moment about this. You are worth every penny that I will pay you for renting my apartments, and we'll move forward from here. And again, my service, what I provided to my customers, to my clients, to the people that I've worked with, is extremely valuable. And again, what happens in the market can be up, the market can be down. We always talk about, pivoting. We talk about adapting, right? I think that's one of the most important things to be as a real estate agent, is adaptable. If one neighborhood isn't doing well and another one is, if you're adaptable, you can work in different neighborhoods. If the sales market is tanking like it was at the beginning of COVID, what do? You go and work on rentals, right? And many people made more money, last year and the year before on rentals than they ever did in their lives. So if you have a great service plan, if you have great things and services that you can provide to every person you encounter, it doesn't matter what's happening with the market. It doesn't matter what's happening with pricing. It doesn't matter, people will always move in New York City, right? That's one of the, let's say, recession-proof parts of our business. People are going to move, right? Maybe they're laid off. Maybe, prices are going crazy, so they're going to make a lot of money. It doesn't matter, right? And as long as we are doing our job, and as long as we're providing quality service to everyone that we come across, your career will keep growing no matter what happens. And again, I think that's one of the nicest things about, real estate is that, there's always opportunities out there. And so if you provide service and if you have a plan to increase the service that you can provide through trainings, through learning new markets, through doing a bunch of other things, which we can talk about, you will be someone's client for life and you'll be someone's real estate agent for life. And that's really, in my mind, the most effective way to grow in this business is to do a good job for every single person you come across so that they will refer you to friends and family and they won't have anyone else to ever talk to in real estate. So with that, let's talk for a minute about the market. And this is a time I'd love for anyone who is kind of actively showing properties, actively working with buyers, with sellers, to kind of comment what they see out there in the market. And again, please, mention what market you primarily work in, right? We have people here who do rentals, sales, commercial, every borough outside of the city. So I'd love to have people kind of let me know what they're seeing out there. And I'm happy to call on people, but Peter, you are the most relaxed on this call because you're out in the countryside. Why don't you tell us what you're seeing in the primary market that you're currently working in? Oh, I cannot hear you. Oh, your mic might be off. I think you're getting saved here. Okay, well, we'll let you try to figure that out. How about someone else who's out there, either working with buyers or with listings? Ellen, can I call on you to comment on what you're seeing with your current listings? And again, Ellen is working in, I would say 3 distinct neighborhoods, but let's say 2 very distinct markets. So I'd love to hear anything you have to say about Brooklyn or Manhattan.
Oh, I'm finding people are taking a long time to pull the trigger on offers, at least in Southern Brooklyn. I'm showing it and showing it and showing it, and loving it. Everybody loves it, but no one's putting an offer in, or the people who are putting offers are not qualified. I'm finding the market's really slow, actually. And in the Murray Hill market, I mean, that's just insane because I have a lovely offer and a seller who is not budging. So, so I'm finding that the market is slow for the sales. I don't know about rentals, and people are much more cautious.
Great.
Do you think that, hi, this is Tristan. Do you think that's because we're going into summer and it just kind of normally slows down, or do you think it's also the interest rates and what the Fed's doing?
I personally don't think it has anything to do with summer because generally June is still very strong. Mm-hmm. The higher end slows down dramatically in July and August, but you can sell year round. I've had offers Memorial Day, Labor Day. I think it's the market, the stock market and the interest rates. Which, by the way, the interest rates, I'm sure Doug will tell you, the interest rates went down last week.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys. And Max, how about you? You're working in a rental market. What are you seeing with either inventory or what's out there for rentals?
Not a ton out there, and a lot of inquiries. A lot of people are looking. They're not very qualified, and right now, I mean, personally, I'm doing uptown apartments, and I'm just dealing with a lot of people with Section 8 and owners who aren't responding in regards to taking the Section 8. So that's my biggest challenge right now.
Okay, which is difficult, but I think generally what you're mentioning is there's low inventory and high demand across the rental market. And again, what is kind of the average price point of what you're, advertising and stuff like that?
About average, maybe like 3,000 for a 2-bedroom.
So kind of on the mid lower end, let's call it.
Yeah, pretty much every upper east, west, Harlem, some stuff in Midtown
Okay,
and Inwood too.
that's great. And Peter, do you have your technical difficulties resolved?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I agree with everything Ellen said. And I think, interest rates are having an impact depending on the type of property. The thing that's been on my mind a lot in the last 48 hours is pricing properties and taking real care in pricing properties and not falling for aspirational pricing, which, of course, sellers are always guilty of or often guilty of. And I took a class with a Rebney class on Monday or Tuesday, and it just reminded me that, a pretty serious amount of work has to go into figuring out exactly where a property should be priced. And if you don't do it properly, especially in this market, if there's a need for renovation, you can end up in a difficult situation, and it's a real process. And so that's what's been on my mind, especially now with rates, having gone up significantly. So properties 1, 2, 3 million, you're seeing, the payment is up many hundreds of dollars. And for some buyers, that's not an issue. And for other buyers, that's a critical issue. So that's what's been on my mind.
No, that's great. And the impact, again, especially at higher price points, is larger. I had a friend of mine, we were looking, we found a place, we had an accepted offer. The owner decided to go with a cash offer from someone the broker told them not to go with. They had to go through the whole board package process. They got rejected by the board. The broker came back to us and said, hey, it was like 3 months later. Hey, you guys still interested? We'll give you the same deal you had before. My buyers did the math. And they said, well, it's going to cost us $2,000 more a month. I don't think it's worth it now. And so, what do we do? Do we negotiate the price, which would be probably a $300,000 drop for the seller? The seller didn't want to do that. And so they kind of are continuing to look. And so, these things are exacerbated, unfortunately, by, what is happening out there with the mortgage market, especially at, $2 to $3 to $4 to $25 million home purchases. So.
Yeah, Zach, this listing Zach and I have on in the West Village, the payment before rates went up was roughly $9,500 a month on the mortgage. And then you add $3,600 for the monthlies. But now the new payment is basically what the old payment was with the monthlies. And that for some buyers is, a difficult pill to swallow.
That's private school tuition for one kid every month or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, but yeah, pricing property properly, especially with renovation in mind. I think that's just a really big deal right now.
Awesome. Anyone else? Christine or anyone else who's kind of active out there in the field want to chime in about what they're seeing?
Hi.
Hi, Christine. F.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. It's just kind of difficult to get things done lately. I did have a better month in May. Like I was able to, my partner and I did a few rentals. It's just, I have a lot of rental clients looking in like very desirable areas like Chelsea, the West Village. They're applying, they are submitting offers over ask and they're not getting it. So it usually takes like few times till they actually secure an apartment. But I am renting things. So
And what do you do to prep your renters for that market that they're entering?
You know, some people are better than others, but a lot of clients are open to my suggestions. Basically, apply before you see it. You know, what number are you comfortable with going over ask? I'm not pushy, but I'm also like, if you're going to apply for something that's 3,000 at 3,000, there's no way you're going to get it. And, other brokers, like I did a showing for something off the market. So like, other brokers are definitely like willing to work with you. So, that's helpful. But yeah, it's tough. It's not, like you said, I had a very good year with rentals last year. It was like easy, and it's just not like that this year, but that's just how the business is. And yeah, it is what it is.
We'll get through this, guys. We'll get through this.
Jason, I have a question for the rental book, for people who specialize in rentals. In the past, rental market got, I don't want to say slower, fast. It was easier to rent in September and harder to rent in the summer. And I have people who might be looking to rent in September. And my question is to the rental brokers, is that something that they see is going to happen again? Or do they consider to see the crunch that we have right now?
I mean, it probably will get a little easier. But what I've been noticing, if your clients want to move in like the beginning of September, some people are posting listings now. There's posting listings for August 1st. So not saying you should start now, but you should start earlier than you normally would. Usually it's like a month before, but now I'm seeing a lot of stuff. I see some stuff for September and I'm like, that's ridiculous.
This person would be selling, and so they wouldn't want to move until the end of September. So you're saying start looking in the middle of August?
Yeah, and if you need help, just let me know. If you need advice, you can always call me.
Thanks.
Yeah, I would say, that's a little bit tricky. Even if you start a month before, you'll find them something and it'll be fine. But it just depends. That's a little tricky. Like once you go into contract, I would definitely like start looking. But yeah, like in a normal situation, if it's just a renter, someone who's not selling, you can start 2 months ahead of time instead of 1.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for chiming in on this. We'll kind of keep going.
Can I ask a question, please?
Oh, sure.
Or anybody who is like in a little bit higher end number for rentals, are those things going more slowly now, or is it still a hot rental market for pretty much everything?
I don't want to be the only one. If someone else wants to talk, they can.
I wanted
slower.
to ask you, Christine, because anybody who has an answer to that.
Yeah, I have a high-end rental, and it's slower, but it depends on the apartment. Like if it's a gorgeous apartment, it will go fast as well, but it's not as dramatic.
Okay,
so
good.
I think.
So what about aspirational pricing?
I mean, it depends on the apartment. Like I have a West Village townhouse listing, and we priced it a little higher than I thought, but the market's hot, let's try it. And it was priced too high, and these people were sending me other listings like this rented in 6 days. I'm like, well, this is a beautiful West Village apartment with direct sun. It's better than yours. You know what I mean? So it depends on the apartment, but I would price it. I would not do aspirational pricing unless you think it's like amazing. It really depends on the property. And like Jason had one in Williamsburg that was like 10K and it was a little slow, but then all of a sudden there was like multiple applications. So to summarize, it's slower it's not as crazy as like a $4,000 apartment. It's a little bit slower, but it's still a good market to have a rental listing.
That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No problem. Well, thank you, everyone. we'll keep going. Just a reminder, and I think you guys are all good on this. For anyone who was not hired over the last 12 months, the Department of State is requiring that the independent contractor agreements be signed every 12 months by every agent. And so I've sent it out to everyone. I think all of you guys have it back to me, so thank you. But if you don't have it back and you're watching this after, please check your email. I've sent it like 10 times to you. If you still have it outstanding, we have to get these in today. So
But what is the ICA? I've
the
not seen
independent
it.
contractor agreement. You signed it with the new hire kit, Tristram, so you
Got it.
You don't need
Got
to do it again. So
Okay, thank you.
yep. Okay, just a reminder, weekly workshops. This week we did ours on kind of the first 10 steps to get involved in real estate. I think a lot of people got some good value out of it. Next week, we're going to talk about the next 7 months, what's going to happen for the rest of the year, and what we can do to get in front of any curve of changes, let's say. What you can do to kind of recession-proof your business, if you want to call it that, or to, solidify your foundation and things like that. So that'll be on Tuesday at noon over Zoom. Again, tomorrow, company-wide prospecting session, 11 to 12. The link will go out. Feel free to join. Again, they give out gift cards and stuff like that. Great time to use time and to block it out every week to be doing prospecting and business building activities. With that, I'd like to give it over to Rudolin for a minute. Again, Rudolin is back, thankfully. I think feeling better, and she can kind of talk to you about what she can provide.
Hey everyone, I don't have a whole lot to say. I sent you all an email. If you could just kind of read through it and let me know if you have any questions. And I'm taking appointments at this very moment. Feel free to contact me to set something up. It could be via Zoom or face-to-face. Just let me know.
Cannot hear you, sorry, please.
Sorry?
Cannot hear you.
I can't hear you, I'm so sorry. What was that?
They can't hear you, Rudolin, so if you just want to get closer to the mic and maybe.
Oh, I'm wearing my mask. I think that's why. So I'm just saying that I emailed you guys a couple of hours ago. And if you guys could just read through it and engage KV Core, send out those mass emails with the newsletter. That would be great. It would be good for your business as well. And I'm also taking appointments starting today for next week. I'm taking appointments all week for next week, so you can just contact me if you want to meet over Zoom or face to face. Just let me know, and I'll be in contact with you guys as well.
And again, Rudolin can help with kind of anything marketing related, be it putting together and sending out postcards, doing just listed emails, in contract emails, neighborhood prospecting emails, to help you get through the My Weichert system, make sure your website's set up correctly, all of that. So, so please reach out to her to schedule a one-on-one if you have not yet. In person is the best, but if you can't make it in, she can do it over Zoom. You can share your screen and kind of go from there. So thank you so much, Rudolin.
Question for you or Rudolin. I just looked at that email. It says, do you have a copy of this newsletter? I'm not sure what she's referencing. What newsletter?
It's a marketing template newsletter. She'll contact you about that separately, Tristan.
Okay.
Perfect. Jamie's not here today. Again, Jamie's here for any insurance you could possibly need: renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, and car insurance. They also do everything but life insurance. Oh, sorry, they do life insurance. They do everything but any type of health insurance. And again, as a Weichert agent, if you have Jamie check your homeowners or renters or car insurance, or a combination of those, you get a free $50 Amazon gift card. Great way to get $50 free to Amazon. So reach out to him and you can schedule that. With that, I'll let Doug take it away. Doug is our amazing Weichert financial mortgage specialist who can help any of your clients get pre-approved or obtain financing.
All right, thanks, Jason. Do you have the slides?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, these are some national trends that are going on, not necessarily specific to Manhattan or the 5 boroughs, but new and pending home sales have come down a bit. It's largely related to an inventory issue. Spending continues to be strong, but the good news for mortgage rates is there are signals that inflation may be peaking. Inflation has been very high, which has caused the Fed to act and raise short-term rates, which affect long-term rates. So there's little signals that are starting to happen that maybe inflation is peaking. Maybe it's going to plateau and maybe we're not going to have as big of an issue. This would be good for retail rates. We'll see what the Fed does. The Fed meets next week. They've already basically announced that they're going to raise it another 0.5 point. It's sort of already built in. So if they do that, it shouldn't have too much impact on the market because they've sort of announced it already. But if they do something different than that, of course, that would have an impact on the market. And then we look for their minutes, which will come out usually a month later. And then we see what their plan is for the next quarter and the balance of the year. But if we look at the next slide, rates, depends on the day this is showing rates flat, but they actually improved a little bit. It depends on the day that you're looking at, right? So you're looking at, say, 5.25 on a 30-year fixed, which really isn't so bad, historically. The 15 years at 4.72. So basically, rates hopefully are stabilizing. They definitely have come up, but if you looked at a historic chart of where rates were, 30 years ago and 40 years ago, we're still not far from the bottom. We just have had this sort of shock of going up pretty quickly, actually quicker than it's ever gone up in the history of the bond market. So once we kind of get used to this and normalize these rates, I think things will settle down in the marketplace in general. Let's look at the next slide if we could. You want to make sure if you have a client, because of rising interest rates, if you have a client that was pre-approved 30 days, 60 days, or certainly even longer, they might not be able to qualify for the same loan amount. If they were barely squeaking through at a specific dollar amount, with the way rates have come up, they might not qualify anymore. So if you're using information that's a couple months old, it's a very good idea to get them pre-qualified again and make sure they still qualify, because you don't want to get to the point of an accepted offer and now they don't qualify for that loan. I can help you with that. Let's look at the next slide. Here's just, we've seen slides like this before, but this just emphasizes how much an interest rate increase can affect someone's borrowing power. So if we said that the maximum monthly payment for principal and interest was $2,800 that the borrower could be qualified for, if we had 3%, which we had for quite a long time during COVID, they would qualify for a loan of $664,000. If that 3% went up to 5.5, which we're basically at now, we're a little bit shy of that. Instead of $664,000, it's $492,000. So that's a significant difference versus a little while ago. So if someone had a pre-qualification that was from November last year, their borrowing power is totally different right now. And you just want to make sure you're showing them the right property for what they can afford. Here's a trivia question. So it says, how much of a funding fee on a VA loan with no money down for a first-time use by a veteran? What's the funding fee for VA, no money down, first-time use by a veteran? So do you think it's 2.3%, 1.7%, 3%, or 2.7%? Any guesses? The funding fee?
Feel free to unmute or put in the chat box.
Let me guess, 1.7.
Okay, 3%, 1.7. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll second that.
It's actually, we stumped the group today. It's 2.3.
Oh, man.
But I will say this, I did there are exceptions to that. I did a VA loan last year for a disabled combat veteran, and they don't have to pay any fee because of their status with the military. So it's not always that, but that's your sort of most common funding fee for a first timer. Just wanted to remind everyone that we're getting co-op approvals very quickly. The deal I'm working on with Leslie and Tom, we had approval within 24 hours of loan submission on the co-op, which you really can't get better than that. We also have programs, if you have a true foreign national, we have programs now where they don't have to have a social security number. They don't have to have income in this country. And I could explain all the details for it, but it's actually, it has to be in an investment property. Some people have it where they have a child going to NYU or something, and they want to buy a condo for their use. That fits in the program. So if you have somebody who's a true foreign national, they don't have a visa here, they don't have US income, they don't have credit in the US, we have a program for them, and I can give you more details on that. So if you need anything from me, if you're wondering about a scenario, you know, what's the minimum credit score, what's the minimum down payment, just let me know. If you are doing an open house and you want an affordability sheet, just send me the basic information, you know, the complete address and the list price. And if there's anything else I can help you with, just let me know. And if you could keep me in mind to your customers, I would appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Doug. And Christine had a question. What is a funding fee? If you wouldn't mind just explaining that.
It's almost like points that the VA requires to be paid at closing. So it's a closing cost. It's a one-time, it's a percentage of the loan amount. And it enables the VA to cover their expenses. Like, you know, the borrower many times is not putting anything down. So they have to have some sort of income to offset that if there's bad loans. So this is a fee that the borrower would pay at closing to get this loan. And it still works out to be less out of pocket than if they did most other loans. Awesome. And by the way, we can go up to $1.5 million with no money down for the right, you know, it's harder to get those offers accepted, but you know what? That's a great program. I mean, we can go $1.5 million loan with no money down for a qualified veteran. So it's just something to keep in mind.
Doug?
Yeah.
It's Peter. Is that funding fee always going to be 2.3, or does that fluctuate?
That fluctuates. Like I said, it depends on how many times they've used their benefit. Like if a veteran has used a benefit more than once, it'll fluctuate. Also, if they're a combat veteran who's been injured, they don't have to pay any funding fee from what I saw anyway. My deal last year, what the guy didn't have to pay, he was exempt. But there is generally, other than that, there generally is a funding fee, and it's going to vary based on the qualifications of the veteran.
Doug?
Yeah.
Doug, how common is it for VA loans in New York City, in Manhattan, Brooklyn? You know, most of it.
It's not common in Manhattan because if you were looking at an apartment building, the building has to be VA approved, and there aren't too many of them, right? If you were doing, you know, something in outer boroughs, it's more common, and in Westchester, it's more common, but I don't see much of it, but it's something to keep in mind. If you had, I would, you know, it's not good for co-ops. Condos are limited, but if you had a single or multifamily home, it's a good vehicle.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Doug. And
Okay.
thank you. We got a lot of congratulations this week. I had to make the font smaller. We did a ton of rentals over the last 2 weeks. So congratulations to Suzanne, Christine, Anthony, Brian, Ellen, Zach, Leslie, Paris, Stephanie, Eunice, Josh, Ken, and to Gina for her first rental deal. Congratulations to Gina. We also had a number of signed contracts. Eunice, Stephanie, Christine, Will, other Christine, Lauro, and Brian Lasoya, who actually had his first sale contract in contract. So congratulations to him. And it's a new development, which is also harder. Well, maybe not harder, no board package, but it can be a little more tricky. So congratulations to Brian. And we have some new sale listings. Gina and Rudolin have a new one. Christine, Ellen, and Will. So congratulations to everyone for the business. Also closing, Stephanie, Tanya, Nicole, Leslie, and Christine all had closing. So congratulations to you guys. And with that, I would like to open it up if anyone has a new listing, something coming to market they want to announce, in case anyone has anyone. I will let Christine Cameron start because she has a new rental listing that she probably can't give us the price for yet, but she knows what it is. So you want to share it with us, Christine?
Yeah, sure. So it's really very special. It's on Park Avenue between 36th and 37th Street, 45 Park. It has a view of Park Avenue. It's a very lovely condo building with a lot of amenities. It's 1 bedroom, 1.5 bath, very large with a washer dryer. I'm not 100% sure where we're pricing it, but it could very well be $59.95.
Awesome. Anyone else have anything they'd like to announce, re-announce? I have a rental in Carroll Gardens, $34.95 for a reasonable size 1 bedroom with a dishwasher and the entire backyard of the building. So it's like there's a terrace plus there's like a 800 square foot backyard. So it's a pretty nice $34.95 available immediately. So if you have anyone looking for a nice place with outdoor space in Carroll Gardens on fourth place. Ellen, do you want to talk about your current listings, or anyone else want to announce? Rudolin, do you want to talk about your new listing with Gina? Guess that's a no. Okay. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to stop.
Can I say something before we get done, Jason, please?
Sure, no problem, Maurice.
Thank you. Thank you. Guys, I have pretty good experience in sales in Manhattan. I will be more than happy to, if somebody looking to team up with somebody. It is my full-time work. I don't do anything else. I could show, I could go for listings. I could do a lot of things. If you like to contact me, Jason has my phone number. I'll be glad to sit with you and discuss. Thank you.
Maurice, are you the same Maurice who used to be at Rockefeller Center?
Yes, I am the same one.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm putting his information into the chat box. You guys have Maurice's phone number. It will also be on the Weichert Properties website pretty shortly. So,
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Harvey.
Yeah, listen, something very interesting what Doug said is kind of striking me about the rise in interest rates. That it looks like the affordability in some cases is like 30% lower in that end. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So that being said, can I tell you what's going on here in Florida?
Sure.
Okay, so we had our office meeting there in Florida, and last week's office meeting. I actually went to the office meeting there for the first or second time. And in Florida right now, talk about extreme shortages of inventory. In the lower ends, like the $2 to about $700,000 ends. And these shift in interest rates has thrown everybody in huge fluctuations. I mean, when people are saying that sales in New York are slowing down and are kind of like stuck, I believe that because everybody's really has to watch their pennies, nickels and dimes and dollars and all that. In Florida, though, right now, we've had an extreme shortage for quite a long time, a year or more. This is where you hear the stories of you get a listing in 1 week, open house Sunday, 30 or more people show up, 10 offers and all that jazz. I guess you're having that in New York, but anyway, the usual stuff. But I noticed this week, all of a sudden, there's a huge, in the Florida listings that came out, all of a sudden there's like 5 times more listings that just came out now here. And what our manager there, John Ard, is stressing is that, with this rise of interest rates and all that stuff, it might behoove most of it, people who are in the residential market to, what is it, aspirational or focus their expectations up, go into more of the higher income brackets of sellers that are not so affected by these interest rates and all that. Even stressing that prices are starting to come down once that's happened. That prices are starting to come down in Florida, and I expect that to be happening in New York. So anyway, I'm still doing all of my business in New York right now because I haven't been able to even get near the Florida residential market, although that may be shifting soon. But of course, if anybody in our office, needs a referral in Florida, let me know. That kind of thing. We have a very busy Fort Lauderdale office, and I can refer.
Who's talking? I can't tell from my computer is screwy. Who's talking?
Harvey Height.
Oh, okay, fine. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
am
so-
interested actually in something, so.
Okay, well, be in touch with me. We've got a great Weichert office down here, and I think things are. I think it's going to open up real fast. Again, we've had a huge inventory shortage, but now it's coming back. Prices are going down. So that's
I have
what
an
I have to say, and I'm
announcement.
sticking with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Harvey. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop the recording.